there, it's David and Nikki Nellis with Foodie the Beast.
We have such a delicious show for you today. We've got truffles with the Saffron King. We're going to be talking about the spice trade. And later in the show, Mike Jacobson is in, and we're talking about Food Day. What are you going to do to celebrate it?
And chefs Ethan McKee and Robert DeCoste are in, along with Jim Barker from the Washington Wine Academy.
Stay tuned. We have a terrific show.
Planet Wine. It's like having your own wine cellar right in the heart of Del Rey. More than 700 bottles of domestic and imported wines offer something for every occasion and budget. For fine wines and more, there's a whole planet. Planet Wine in Del Rey. All right, so Jim Barker, how are you?
I'm doing great
I
today.
see bubbles. You want to tell us about the bubbles?
You always have to start a party with bubbles, and we're here on a party. It's Sunday morning, but
I love
it is
it.
still a party.
You know, the Washington Wine Academy just became my favorite resource for wine information.
So while you're popping that, tell us a little bit about the Washington Wine Academy.
The Washington Wine Academy was founded 12 years ago, and it basically is a organization based in Northern Virginia, but all around the D.C. area. We're the largest brick-and-mortar wine school in the D.C. market. We do everything from casual wine classes up to high-end certifications. We're doing a whole series of fun events I'll tell you more about throughout the hour here.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's start with that. What are you pouring for us
This
first?
is actually going to be one of my favorite sparkling wines out of the United States. It's actually from Albuquerque, New Mexico. They actually make wine in all 50 states now. And this actually is Gruet or Gruet, if you want to say it either way. It's a sparkling wine out of Albuquerque. Go ahead and pop this open here.
How do they say it? I mean, it's out of Albuquerque, so...
That's true.
They say it, Gruet, partner.
Anyone care to partake in a little bubble?
I think we all will. Have some
fair enough.
three
Hey, wait a minute.
glasses.
Jim, why do you think you're here?
Right.
You're not using me, are you?
Well, and we have a very, very special guest in studio today,
We do.
and I believe you should pour one for him as well.
Michael Jacobson is the executive director of the Center for Food Science, and they grade popular foods, which I think is really interesting. But before we talk about that, Nikki spotted you in the Washington Post magazine.
I know. I have to say, it was really fun opening up Tom's Dining Guide this morning and seeing Michael Jacobson talking about where not his favorite place.
It's not the Italian Pizza Kitchen.
No,
right?
it's not.
And you shouldn't go to
And
the
you
Italian
shouldn't go
Pizza
there.
Kitchen.
We're never
go there?
going.
Okay.
We're never going.
Except frequently.
All right. Well, Mike, let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about the Center for Food Science. What is it all about?
Center for Science in the Public Interest.
I read it wrong. Sorry.
We're celebrating our 40th anniversary. We focus on food safety and nutrition, trying to promote healthier diets and also promoting better food policies. We're the group that got the nutrition facts labels on packages. We've led the campaigns to get rid of trans fat, the artery clogging fat. We're improving school foods, trying to get junk food advertising off of children's television, trying to get better funding for the Food and Drug Administration for its food safety activities. So a whole bunch of things related to food.
And so now you've come up with this Food Day.
That's right.
This is the first one.
This is sort of the first one. We actually sponsored
Officially.
Food Day in the 1970s, and we're sponsoring it again this year, October 24th, so a week from Monday. And it's like Earth Day, but focusing on food issues, nutrition, hunger, farm policies, whole range of foci. And we're trying to educate people, getting people to eat real, get rid of the junk, and really transform your diet. And also advocate better food policies.
Well, when you say eat real, I'm sure there's a lot of people, I mean, in our area, I think there's a lot of people who think, well, I eat real, I dine at very good restaurants, I do go to my farmer's market, but how does the policy person define real?
Well, it's a vague thing, I have to admit.
Okay.
It's eating real food, not the kind of junk that comes, Bisquick and Lunchables and sugary breakfast cereals, Jell-O.
I just want to give a shout out to my kids. I hope they're all listening. That's why I don't buy those Lunchables. They're disgusting. Go ahead.
Not all packaged foods are junk, but in general, we should be eating a lot more fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains.
Well, here's the question, because we were talking about this on the car over here. With all the information that there is out there, and with Mrs. Obama's, anti-obesity campaign and all that, Jamie Oliver going to the wilds of West Virginia and all that. Shouldn't people know by now what to eat and what not to eat?
I think if you ask people what's healthy and what isn't, they'll tell you. They know fruits and vegetables are good for you. The challenge is to help people eat those kinds of foods. Now, the most challenging places are in inner cities, wards 7 and 8 here, where there are almost no grocery stores. There are all these cheap carryouts that make it easy to eat junk.
Right.
But it also goes to the fancy suburbs, Bethesda, Potomac, and so on, where a lot of people are eating a lot of junk. Go into a supermarket there.
Mm-hmm.
The whole aisle for soda pop, potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
Take some motivation, and I think peer support is real important. So if you're hanging around with people who care about healthy eating, the chances are you'll eat healthier also.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. This is David and Nikki Nellis with Foodie and the Beast. We're getting very serious, but we're also having some bubbles. It balances out. We'll be back in just a sec.
The phrase neighborhood restaurant means convenience, but not necessarily style or good taste. But in DC's West End, Circle Bistro, Notti Bianche, and Dish Plus Drinks take neighborhood dining to new levels. Circle Bistro offers contemporary French-inspired cuisine. Dish has new twists on American classics. And Notti Bianche is the perfect Italian trattoria. The Kennedy Center is just steps away, so pre- and post-theater dining is enjoyable and convenient. Dish, Notti Bianche, and Circle Bistro. There's good taste in the neighborhood. We are back on Foodie and the Beast with the slightly congested David Nellis and the always lovely Nikki Nellis. And Michael Jacobson is
not yet congested
in the studio. Michael is the executive director of the Center for Food Science, and we want to get to Food Day and talk about that. It's on October 24th, and there are beaucoup events all over the country in all 50 states. But let's talk about what's going on here.
Well, tons of things are going on in D.C. One of the nice ones is, it's kind of a twofer, is at the National Archives. They have a terrific exhibit called What's Cooking Uncle Sam, which discusses food policies over the past 100 years, and it's very interesting. So they're having an open house with literature tables from half a dozen organizations, including the Department of Agriculture, Center for Science and the Public Interest, Mars Candy Company.
Believe it or not, lobbyists going to be there too,
they're
like the corn,
Well, Mars will be there. So
that's health food.
So the National Archives will have it, and this is October 24th. American University's having a number of events. Some restaurants. Another interesting one is the Italian Embassy has a lecture and tasting on Monday night, October 24th, a lecture about the man who started Italian cuisine as we know it.
And he is?
I don't remember his name.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Chef Boyardee? Probably not. No,
he's from Ohio.
Bread for the City has an event. So there are really lots of things going around, happening in D.C., and around the country. It's really interesting. University of California at San Francisco is having a conference on food deserts, areas where there's little access to fresh food. And they're looking at inner cities and also prisons, which are their own kind of food desert.
Sure.
Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart, their public schools are having a 5-day nutrition and food education series, and kids are building a junk food hall of shame.
Oh, cute. I love it.
That's cute.
Well, how can schools get involved? And is it up to the school system to get involved, or do the parents really need to say to the schools, this is something we need to do?
It happens every which way. In Los Angeles, every Los Angeles County school, I think 800 schools, are celebrating Food Day with a special meal.
Think they got shamed into it after that whole Jamie Oliver thing?
It could be. It could be. But also in Tulsa, in Seattle, there, so tons of things going on in schools, especially healthy meals for the kids. In other places, we have a Food Day curriculum at foodday.org for different school levels that teachers can use. In New York City, we're having an eat-in in Times Square with Mario Batali, Morgan Spurlock, and others. But I think the average person...
Well, he makes sense.
I know he does. It's perfect, though, because considering his...
Right, supersize me.
Right.
But, I think the average person, your average listener probably, who's going to celebrate Food Day will do it at home with an especially healthy meal made from locally grown foods.
Sure.
And maybe have a potluck with some friends, each contributing a dish, and talking about the food issues that concern them. Farm policies, hunger in their community, nutrition for kids, whatever it is.
Excellent.
All right.
And we have to wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up.
Sorry to say that.
Foodday.org is where to get all the information on these events.
That's right.
And you can also go on to the listareyowantit.com, and Nikki will have a link to the events as well.
Absolutely.
So thanks for coming in. This was great.
Really fantastic.
My pleasure.
Thank you
We
so
don't
much.
usually get this serious.
I know,
Terrific.
but it's an
It's
important
hard for
topic.
me. It's not easy for
Very
me
important.
to be serious. All right, Michael, thanks for coming. And we've just been joined by, and I was not aware of the coronation, by a man known as the Saffron King,
Yep.
BEROUSH SHAFIRI out of New York. And you are known all over the world as the man with the interesting spices from everywhere, from every corner. So,
Well, actually, I mean, you and I met maybe 6 or 7 months ago. We were at Nick Stefanelli's Bibiana, and you had this mass array of gorgeous spices with you that he was piling through. I mean, you work with chefs all around the country, or is it primarily East Coast? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, I have a good presence in 5 or 6 cities. I'm based in New York City, so of course Manhattan's a golden goose.
Sure.
But I began my business 10 years ago in New Orleans, simply by virtue of the fact that I go there every year for Jazz and Heritage Festival. And I had this strange idea that I wanted to import saffron into America. And as a stay-at-home father, I utilized the opportunity to go to New Orleans every year for Jazz Fest and speak with chefs, and began the business down there. So basically, we have a very strong presence in New Orleans, San Francisco, New York City, DC, Boston, Philadelphia. So not quite nationwide, but
Certainly
almost.
a start.
and I'd like to jump in and just say, if you would get to work, I would like to be a stay-at-home
Okay,
father.
how about it? Tell us, though, you started with saffron.
Yes.
And how did your business expand? Because you brought in all these fantastic specimens today. How did it start? And tell me how you grew your business.
Well, it's a very good question. One that many people ask is, how did you start this business, importing just one spice and just selling one spice to a kitchen? It's relatively unheard of, but we started for 5 years with just saffron. That's literally all that we sold. And I came into the saffron
And was there
trade.
a terrific need for it?
I would say so. I mean, saffron is obviously highly prized for bouillabaisse, risotto, and saffron milanese. Paella. But I just noticed the general quality of saffron in America was so poor. I was working in a gourmet food store.
Was it just old? Was the saffron just old? And
Well, just a combination of just old and just not of the best quality, and also
Okay.
very expensive. And I'm familiar with saffron. Growing up in Iran, it's a major part of our cuisine.
Sure.
So I thought I could contribute to that. But I really fell into the spice trade by virtue of poetry. I finished my NYU master's degree in mystical Persian poetry, and I was studying with Harold Bloom, and there were certain passages in the text where we describe food, but saffron plays an integral role in Persian poetry in terms of its literal and figurative associations. So that's really the best answer in terms of how I fell into it. I was always fascinated with saffron. My daughter's name is Saffron Rain. She's 10 years old.
Yeah.
She was born on my birthday right when we started the business. So
Fantastic.
there's a real symmetry to the whole thing.
So, I mean, I guess we should start with this. You're in town to do a dinner at the Occidental, correct?
Correct, yes.
And why don't you tell us a tad about that first?
And then let's get into some of the cool things that you brought in the studio.
Yes.
Well, Chef Rodney of the Occidental, have to thank him enormously in his absence today. He had some family stuff to take care of, so thanks to Rodney. It was really his idea. He suggested over a year ago that he would like to do a spice dinner. He's aware of the fact, of course, that these are very unusual items, and he's long since been, well, if not a great fan, certainly a great customer, and he's enjoyed using these items. And obviously these items are not familiar to many, so they allow you to, as if you will, another colour for an artist to paint with. And for instance, a Food and Wine article about us in September of last year is about how Southern chefs use our unusual ingredients to tweak their traditional recipes. So I very often get the response that these items are wonderful, but what the heck are they, and how do we use them? And,
Well, do you recommend to chefs, I mean, when you come with all your packets of different spices for chefs to look at, do you come to them and do they say, so what do I do with this? Do you make recommendations, or are they so creative that they are like, oh, I know where this will go and I can tweak this kind of recipe? How does that work? Are you collaborate with them?
Very much so, but as I said, for 5 years we only had saffron, and for the first year or two I would actually give an ounce of saffron as a sample. That's like a $250.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And now I give a quarter of a gram, so I learned that. But then
I
as
can
we
smell the saffron.
then as we
It's so
started
fragrant.
as we started adding more items, one thing that I've loved that we do, and chefs have told me that they respond very well to, we make sample packets in little 2x2, 2x3 bags. We'll put an array of 30 or 40 different items, and we put them in a larger bag, and it's like a wonderful gift bag to a chef. It's just like a wonderful.
Right,
Are
it's
you
a goodie bag.
exposing them to spices they've never heard of before and never?
I absolutely am, and
Well,
that's
let's talk about them. What are these here? Tell us what
okay.
you have.
These two items will be featured in the dinner that we're doing, both in drinks. I love botanicals because they can be used both for sweet, savoury, and also cocktails. We do a lot of work with mixologists.
I bet.
The two items that you inquired about, the word is manna, the biblical term manna from heaven. Everything that I'm about to say comes out of the book of Exodus. So
Okay.
I'm not just it's not a man with a big chin and a large beard making things up. The book of Exodus.
Excellent.
We're going to have to wrap up, but please tell people how to find you online and
where
how
they
to
can
get
see you.
information on the Occidental dinner.
The Occidental dinner, Thursday, October 20th. If you go to the Occidental website, certainly. Our website, www.SaffronKing. Unfortunately, just had a little media. We did last year launch a site to start selling, but because of the embargo, we had to.
It's a beautiful site.
It's beautiful. And we didn't get to get into your bike riding, but next time you come in, we will certainly talk about that because I know you're very famous for your.
And I'm just going to
bicycling.
leave one thing here. This is a saffron. I didn't put any saffron in this one because I want you to see the difference. For dinner, we'll have saffron. It's a saffron pistachio brittle, and we'll also add manna to it. But feel free to taste some
I already
of that.
did. I already had one. It was delicious.
Excellent.
All right,
Thank you
BEROUSH
so much.
Sharifi, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you. The Saffron King.
Now we're going to transition to the kings of modus: Jerry Early, Ethan McKee, and Robert DeCoste.
Yes.
All right, so let me start with Jerry, because Jerry, you were in here about 6 months ago talking about the launch of the new modus brand. It was Potomac Hospitality. You've got 9 properties right here in D.C.
10, and that includes Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, Philly, and Chicago. So
Look at that. Holy cow.
Now we got pasta.
6 right here in D.C., though.
And
All
those
right.
truffles would go so well on top of that pasta. How well do we make that work? Is that precarious up there? That looks precarious up there. Okay, there
Can
we
we
go.
eat now?
That is
That's incredible.
All right, so and part of your operation, and you guys are longtime advertisers here, Notti Bianche, Circle Bistro, and Dish, which are your signature restaurants, and that's why we've got Ethan and Robert here. I guess we should start with Ethan because you've got a new place, basically. You've got a renovated Circle Bistro, excuse me. And I don't know, tell us about it. Tell us what you're working with now.
We just reopened on Thursday, and we had a soft opening, and it went very well. What we've done with the new menu is kind of taken it back to traditional French bistro food. We have a few of the standards that you would expect to see at a bistro: steak tartare, cold foie gras, and then also we've tried to change the lunch menu a little bit to make it more on the lighter side a little bit, and that's one of the things that we brought in today.
Well, I think people should know. I mean, Circle Bistro was definitely more before the renovation of a fine dining restaurant. So you're sort of changing the concept a bit. How does the interior changed?
Well, the dining room mainly had a facelift. We removed all the wallpaper, and now we have fresh paint, new carpeting, floors are being refinished, bars refinished. So the restaurant looks really, really slick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a break
Oh, I'm
first, and
sorry.
then we want to talk more to Ethan and to Robert DeCoste. This is Foodie the Beast with David and Nikki Nellis. We'll be right back. Planet Wine in Del Rey is more than just 700 great wines. There's also a stellar selection of craft beers picked by Greg Engert, one of Food and Wine's favorite. All right, we're back on Foodie and the Beast. We've got an amazing array of food here. Ethan McKee from Circle Bistro's in, and Chef Robert DeCoste from
I'm going to blame the
Notti
cold
Bianche.
pills for all your issues today.
I'm lucky to be here.
I know,
and
you're
there's
fuzzy.
Gorgeous food
It's
in front of
fuzzy.
us. So, Ethan, let's just get back to you for a second. So, I guess an important thing for both your restaurants is pre- and post-theater dining. Kennedy Center's right nearby. Do you have a pre-theater menu as well?
Yes, we actually offer the entire menu for 3 courses for $35.
Oh, that's a good
So
deal.
you can
That is
just
a good
choose from any item. So I think that works better for us, and I think for the customer, because it just people get an opportunity to try different things instead of having just a limited one.
Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
Well, it's like a restaurant week
Yeah,
deal,
basically,
but with
yeah.
the full menu.
Yeah.
Robert, we haven't talked to you at all. So let's talk about Notti Bianche. Tell us about the kind of cuisine you're serving there with the change of seasons. What are we looking for there?
Mainly, the first thing that we're going to change are a lot of our pasta dishes, and it'll be pastas that have heavier sauces.
Mm-hmm.
This is a garganelli pasta with bolognese.
Mm-hmm.
at the restaurant, we serve it with pepperdelli pasta that we make in-house.
I want the camera dudes to get me trying your...
Okay, he wants to eat, so you can keep talking.
But the pepperdelli doesn't travel well, so
No.
I made it with garganelli and just put some Parmesan cheese on it. This is one of our signature dishes, that the bolognese. It's a blend of beef, veal, and pork, and some red wine, tomato.
And what are some of the other dishes that people can find on your menu?
I'm going to have a porcini mushroom agnolotti, and I'm going to make a veal, kind of like a cacciatore, with tomato and more porcini mushrooms. And
It's a really classic Italian,
yeah, very simple.
recognizable.
Try to
dish.
keep it as simple as we can.
Well, actually, we haven't talked about Ethan's salad, which looks really good.
That salad's awesome, and it's a salmon salad. What would you call it?
It's a
So
salmon
it's
salad.
actually, this is, I mean, one different thing that we're doing with the lunch menu is having several different salads, and you can add salmon or beef or chicken. And this is a wild coho salmon, and the salad is a heart of palm, artichoke, and avocado salad with a truffle vinaigrette. So maybe we can talk
beautiful.
Baruch to come in and shave
Right,
some
shave
truffle
some
on top.
truffles on top of that.
All right,
please.
well, I happen to know that if you want information about the restaurants and what's going on at Modus Properties, you go to modushotels.com, and you find all the information there. And if you're looking for a place to have dinner, Notti Bianche or Circle Bistro are absolutely places that should be
Well,
on
we
your
definitely
list.
have to go in and see both of their new menus and
That's
check them
right.
out.
Please do.
It's a
All right,
good-
guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks
Jim,
for
let's
coming
get
in today.
back to you. We had a chance to talk about two of your, the cruises and the tours. What else do you guys have going on that you want to tell us about?
Well, we are super excited about our flagship event, which is called our 1K Wine Walk.
Okay.
Essentially, you walk
You don't
in-
run.
You don't run. It is walking. You walk into the shops at Crystal City. You get a race bib on your chest. You're handed a wine glass, and you stop at 7 different wine hydration stations through the mall tasting wines. It was
And
so
then do you
popular.
get
Wait. Back
designated
up. Say
driver?
this again. Do this again.
The event's called the 1K Wine Walk.
Okay.
It's not a spoof on marathons and 5Ks and everything, but basically it's just kind of for people who want to taste wine but still be athletic. You get a race bib, you get a wine glass, you get a T-shirt, and you actually walk and stop at 7 different wine hydration stations through the mall sampling wines.
So who's pouring wine? Tell us.
The Washington Wine Academy, it's our staff and a lot of our students come, and we actually provide educated pourers, and we have different rooms. We have different themed rooms.
That's very
I
smart.
love
Extremely
that.
popular.
Great idea.
So popular, of course, that we are adding a second weekend this year for the 1K Beer Walk, which will feature high-end craft beers.
What are the dates of these?
It's going to be the second and third weekends in January, so it's
Okay.
the
So we got to bundle up.
14th and 15th and 21st and 22nd.
Okay. And this is outside?
It's inside.
Oh, it's
in
inside,
Crystal
okay.
City. It's
Okay.
inside a mall, so basically you
Oh, I
come
thought
in
you
on-
said like the mall, and I'm thinking downtown on the
no,
mall.
it's the shops at Crystal City. You walk in there. We a
That's
race.
very smart. Would you like to set one up in Kensington, Maryland, right?
Let's do it.
Right around the
Our
corner from
house.
us. Antique Row, perhaps.
Beer walk
Right,
at our house.
exactly.
But the tickets are actually on sale on our website yesterday. It was amazing. We sold about nearly 100 tickets in the first 15 minutes. It's kind
Excellent.
of fun for an event 3 months away. But tickets will sell out. So if you want tickets, go to WashingtonWineAcademy.org.
And how much are tickets?
They're $35 for the beer and $40 for the wine.
Oh, totally reasonable.
All right, well,
Try a bunch of wines. You get a T-shirt.
Oh, well, I'm
you
coming
keep
for
the
the
wine
T-shirt.
glass.
I'm coming for the T-shirt,
Yeah,
just
all
so
right,
you know.
fantastic.
I want to thank our
guests,
guests, Michael
please.
Jacobson, the Saffron King, Jerry Early, Ethan McKee, Robert DeCoste, and Jim Barker. You guys, this was a fun show. Thank you
Fun
very
show.
much.
And we have a terrific show next week. Mad Fox Brewery's coming in. They're going to pour beers. And we're talking honey with the guys from Founding Farmers. And Johnny Moe, he's the musical chef. He's going to be in the studio.
What kind of music?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Uh-oh.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. And please have a delicious week.